scheme. We have many schemes. Why don't we have this scheme, which is beneficial to members? And we are saying it's going to be contributory. We are not asking anyone to give us money. We just want a platform to be provided for us so that we can contribute this money. When we retire, we're able to enjoy medical facilities like we were doing before. And we know of many other institutions which do that, Madam Speaker. And finally, Madam Speaker, if you can give me just 1 minute with regard to this issue. Establishment of a pension scheme in this side to be done.
I'll give you 1 minute because you're a former commissioner.
Yes.
1 minute.
You know why I'm passionate about it being established within the Parliamentary Service Commission? When I was a CEO of CAK, at that time CCK, a very small institution with 130 members, we had our own pension scheme. And what we used to do is to invest money that was not immediately payable to those people who have retired in various interest-earning securities. Madam Speaker, as we speak, this money is paid to the consolidated fund. There is no investment. My money just remains the way it is. We want it to come to the Parliamentary Service Commission so that we can have an enhanced pension scheme as a result of good policies of investing our monies in good, for instance, maybe treasury bills when it is earning more interest, so that we can get more, Madam Speaker. As it is, we continue to get very little because our money is tied in the consolidated. I want to thank you and I support.
Thank you. Honorable Sirma.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to contribute. Madam Speaker, I have gone through these circles on pensions and being retired and coming back again. Madam Speaker, I want to pay tribute to Makalu Mulu for doing a good job. I also want to remember the first person who brought independence to this parliament. The first person who brought independence to this parliament. Madam Speaker, many of you do not know how much a member of parliament was. And as an individual, in terms of, I have seen members whom I was here for 15 years, I went out for 10 years, and I have seen all. You can be happy when you are here, but once you are out, it is a problem. I also want to talk about the people who have made those members who are outside a bit comfortable. Dr. Njuguna, the former member of Gatanga, who created FOPA with other members. I also became a member, and I'm still a member, because everybody is either a former or current, or a prospective former member. So I want to tell you, it is time you made that decision now. And it is either you do it, or you wait and see the vagaries of this world, how they will treat you. Madam Speaker, Parliamentary Service Commission, we have people of integrity who will be able to stand there. And Madam Speaker, I wish one time I should serve under that so that I am part of those people who have had the history of this house. And if we are able to get our money from ourselves and keep it and invest the way others pensions invest, even this government would not be going out of the country to borrow. They would be borrowing from the pension schemes within Kenya. And they run the government. I can assure you, it is time that Parliament stood up for itself and members of Parliament look at themselves on the eye and say, it is our time. Because nobody has any interest with you after you leave the gates of this house. I decided not to come to this house, even to visit a friend. When I was out, I decided it is the people who have decided I'm not in Parliament. So I did not come for 10 years. But finally, I am back. So I want to tell you, if you would be having such a principle like me, because I had no other business, the pension was out of Parliament. But if it is now in Parliament, I will be coming to look for my pension here if there is a problem. So I want to say, members of Parliament, think about yourself, think about those whom you leave behind, and look at those people who have retired. And I want to say, I hope, I have not read the whole bill, but Makalu, the former members of Parliament who are languishing in poverty should be taken care of and even given a send-off because they went with nothing. I saw a person who had 15 years here. He has nothing, even a car. Madam Speaker, I beg to support.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Makueni.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to also contribute to this very important bill. And I wish to thank the Member of Parliament for Kitui Central, Dr. Makali, for bringing this. I feel privileged because I've just come and it has just come. For the first time in this Parliament, I'm very happy to talk about our welfare. Since I've been here for the last 2 years, I've never had anything or any point or any bill that was discussing our welfare. So I wish to thank Dr. Makali very much, and I actually appreciate because the major thing here we are doing with this particular bill is sustainably manage our resources in a manner that it can take us to the next world. And I think that is a very wise idea. So I really sincerely congratulate him, and I hope we actually support this bill. I'm in particular very much impressed by the fact that we will need to move our pension to be managed by the Parliamentary Service Commission. Because that way we can actually have our independence beyond this Parliament, and it will actually ensure a smooth exit even when we are outside there and you actually need your pension. So I really want to applaud the Member of Parliament, and we really appreciate that. But this also brings us to another major question, which I think we can actually also discuss. I've had a member here saying, for us, because one of the major things is the issue of health. And we know what happens as you advance with age. And I really liked the advice that people told us to go to gym and be healthy and we eat well. That's a very good point. But one other stressor which we are getting, which I think as we reflect on this bill is also taken in consideration, is our dues. You realize nowadays you can have a headache of even mileage. It comes when it wants to come. And I wonder, isn't that stressing our members? As we look at welfare when we retire, I think the welfare when we retire depends on the welfare as we work. So I think those with the responsibilities of taking care of our welfare here, they need also to prioritize it. Because, you know, I'm a member of Parliament with the 7 wards who want services. My constituency money stays and stays until everybody is giving me a headache, and you expect me to have very good retirement. I think those also who are taking our welfare here, let's not concentrate on welfare when we're out of this Parliament. We will have our welfare taken care of. Even those who are responsible here, they make sure our welfare is taken care of, because that will also determine at what state will exit this particular house. Honorable Speaker, As we talk about this issue of pension for ourselves, which I think is very important, I think we realize we have a big problem with our pension system. And I wish we could also investigate and find out what do we do with the issue of pension, because it's becoming a thorn in the flesh. Very many other Kenyans are dying without seeing their pension. And I wonder what kind of punishment with this? I one time watched Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, and he shared something which I think is a concern to me. I also thought when we make a contribution, the money is kept separate. And I had government money just goes in cycles. And I realized your money can get stuck there and you die without anything. So I think this is very strategic, and I think we should actually also try to see how we can also explore for the rest of the Kenyans. See how can this pension be managed in a manner that people benefit from it, because that, Honorable Speaker, that was the intended purpose on the pension. So with those few remarks, I support the bill. Thank you.
Honorable Member for Samburu East, Honorable Kumontare.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to support this bill. And Madam Speaker, the retirement of members of parliament is not natural. And in fact, Madam Speaker, when somebody leaves parliament, it is not just because of age. You are forced to retire. And I think it is very important, Madam Speaker, our tomorrow is being prepared today. And it is good you have this plan so that when maybe you are not in a position to do what you usually do, then you have something to support yourself and even the people who still depend on you. Madam Speaker, leaving Parliament is something I really don't know what to say, because you find young people leaving Parliament, they have served for 2 times or 3 times, and then you leave. It still means you have duties to perform. You have your lovely ones to serve. So this bill, Madam Speaker, is very important to members of Parliament. And I think the purpose of pension is to protect and serve you after you have lived the service. That is the whole essence of the pension scheme. And this is your money that you only have to plan so that you'll have all the needs you have to attend after you leaving the Parliament. And Madam Speaker, it is very important, and it is a good idea to bring the pension of members of Parliament to Parliamentary Service Commission. Madam Speaker, people who are retiring, they are suffering in this thing called the Bima and all that thing. And I think it is even very important for us to look at maybe those people. Madam Speaker, teachers who have taught our children for very many years, those government officers, they are suffering, looking for their pension. And I think this house also, we have to look at that other act, because somebody leave their service and you continue suffering for very many years. I want to challenge these people who are the ethics and anti-corruption people. They really need to know what is going on in the pension areas. Because, Madam Speaker, we are members of Parliament and even we interact with these people. Sometimes they come to you that they need money to facilitate their money to be given. That is a very bad thing, Madam Speaker. And I think when this one goes to the Parliamentary Service Commission, I think it will be a good thing. And we really want to help our people who are retiring to get their money without struggling. And I don't know why documentation takes time. Why can't they tell people to bring their documents and file so that when somebody goes or leaves service, they don't struggle again. You are told to bring, I don't know which pay slips, and they have all the records. That's a thing we really need to look at, and I want to support this bill. It is very good, and it is very important for us to have that scheme so that after you leave the parliament, you don't struggle. This is the time we have to prepare our tomorrow. Thank you. I support.
Thank you, Honorable Dick Maungu.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity given so that I may also be able to support and comment on this very, very progressive bill. Allow me to start by appreciating the Honorable Dr. Makali Mulu for having thought it good to actually bring such an amendment on such a progressive bill. Madam Speaker, retirement is something that is there to stay, and at one point in time, we must exit. Just like in public service, people exit at the age of 60 years. But this being a unique house, Madam Speaker, people exit as early as 30 years, as early as 20-something years, depending on how long they've served and depending on how the people have found it fit. And therefore, it is important that we come up, this bill comes out to structure or to have a way in which members' welfare can be taken of, Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker, out here, there's a negative mentality that members of parliament are very rich, members of parliament are very greedy, members of parliament are self-seeking. Madam Speaker, you cannot think of others without even thinking about yourself. And I think it's just important to know that members of parliament are mortal just like any other person. And therefore, what affects members of the public will equally affect a member of parliament. I've been here for 2 years, Madam Speaker, but at times I meet former colleagues in the corridors here, and it is not very encouraging. These are members who served in this house maybe for 10 years, 15 years, and even 5 years, Madam Speaker. But the kind of life they live is like they never served this house, Madam Speaker. They never serve the public. And therefore, the pain and anguish that these members go through is quite horrible. And I think we stand at a point in history to rectify this anomaly, Madam Speaker. Because these members served in this house diligently, they serve their people and serve the nation. Rectify this anomaly, Madam Speaker, because these members served in this House diligently. They served their people and served the nation. Rectify this anomaly, Madam Speaker, because these members served in this House diligently. They served their people and served the nation. Rectify this anomaly, Madam Speaker, because these members served in this House diligently. They served their people and served the nation.